Thank you everyone for joining us, and thank you for taking the time to kind of connect. And if you've spoken with myself and my colleague Anthea, who's on the call already, really excited to see you again. If you haven't had the chance to meet us yet, well, hopefully you'll get an idea of who we are, what we're working towards, and what this amazing trip we've organized is going to look a little bit more like today. If you have any questions, there'll be space for some questions at the end, and feel free to just continuously put stuff in the chat, and myself and Andy can as and when they come. It's probably what you're feeling is what other people are feeling. We have an FAQs page on this mini website that we've designed and will be distributed to you once you've booked your ticket. So that will also cover a lot of the things that we're sharing here. But once again, if there's anything that you're unsure about or make you feel a bit uncomfortable, please just drop us a line and we'll do our best to sort that out in a timely manner. But to kick it off, I wanted to just remind you what you have applied for. First of all, massive congratulations for making it this far. Not everyone who applied has been selected, and so the chosen few are to make something quite impactful, make something quite different that hasn't existed before, and do something really entrepreneurial and different and against the grain. And so we're really, really excited to welcome you to Launch Lisbon. And in particular, this 1-week international program that is about all things startup, entrepreneurial, innovation, and operations. Hopefully, to develop a further impactful mindset to the one that you've already built, either during your time at LSE or in your early career so far, in a city really like no other that myself and Andy have already been very privileged to spend a lot of time in over the last year or so. LSE Generate is a new player in the European academic founder ecosystem. It's a bit of a mouthful, and we've recently joined the Lisbon ecosystem as a new player in the landscape for social entrepreneurship. But it's already a really vibrant and up and coming ecosystem that we've been really excited to spend more time in and better understand. Anthea, I'm just going to make you host to admit people as through the call. So we believe founders of the future will come from campuses all like ours, but all around Europe and all around the world. LSE has been parts of thousands of entrepreneurial journeys already, some extremely successful with outcomes like the unicorn founders, such as the founders of Allbirds, Oak North. But in the last 3 years, we've been working a lot harder to focus on the earlier stage of the pipeline, founders like yourselves, who were just in the infancy of your idea, just getting your first few sales or kind of figuring out what product market fit looks like. And we exist to support innovators gather in the focus for a better society in South America as well. And so hopefully this is the first of many programs and boot camps that will take place in a variety of other places outside of London, because our vision for what LSE is here to do is international as well. Very briefly, I'll hand over to my colleague Anthea to introduce us, and then I'm happy to share a little bit about my background, but you're in safe hands because we have a really experienced team across a variety of different sectors.
Hi, everyone. My name is Anthea. I think I've met most of you on the call. And for those of you who I haven't, hello. So a little bit about me. I was actually a part of the very first LSE Generate Accelerator program. I also have my own startup, but with my other hat on, I teach at the LSE in social innovation and open innovation, and also have had a wealth of experience in the education sector from a recruitment standpoint. And yeah, so that's a little bit about me, and Kieran can give you a little bit about himself.
Thank you, Anthea. I've spent the last 4 years running innovation and accelerator programs for startups and early stage founders. I think I like most the early part of the entrepreneurial journey, like the first kind of 100 days before a founder starts their business and incorporates it, and the first 100 days after. Most recently, I've been doing work with Ada Ventures as a venture scout in the VC landscape, and also with Entrepreneur First as a form program participant and associate, supporting with operational activities with more deep tech founders. But the bread and butter of my work has always been with university students, recent graduates, and alumni, building their early ideas and kind of getting them to an initial product and out to sell something to a market. We have a really large team. This is just a handful of people within our advisory group or close partners of the work that we do, who hopefully some of you will have a chance to meet and engage with over the course of the program. But if not, if you're part of the LSE Generate ecosystem, which you are, you will have access to these people. So what's next for you? You've taken the most important step in your entrepreneurial career by starting something and throwing yourself out there to apply to programs such as this, to engage, build a network, and meet other like-minded people. Today, this is just a really informal opportunity to get to know each other. I think the network is such a pinnacle part of all of our work. It's just as a meeting place for people. We'll cover some of the boring admin and understand a bit more program space, and then give a little bit of a conversational dialogue around flights, accommodation, and answer any questions you might have. So first, some housekeeping. Once you have completed the payment for the program, we will send you to a page that I alluded to before, which is this website. And on that website is a code of conduct, and it's really integral to a lot of the work that we do. If you need a copy before then, please feel free to request it and we'll email it out to you. But it's just an underlying belief that everyone on this call and everyone in our community appreciates that we want this to be an accessible space, and each of us are responsible for the work that we do and how we interact with the community. And so it's just really important that we understand and appreciate those standards are expected across all of our work, and it's the only time we really talk about it. If you haven't already and you need any help, we can resend you the link, but basically through the LSE website, you're able to complete the purchase of the program fee. And once you've done that, you'll be able to access the follow-on activities and materials. You'll need to buy your flights, and I appreciate some of you have kind of communicated with me about exact timings. We're a bit flexible, as in lots of you are not flying from London, you're flying from other locations, and we need to be a bit more flexible with time. So the kind of expected time of arrival and when program stuff will kick off is on Sunday the 20th at 5 o'clock. And then the end of the program and kind of all mandatory events and activities will be wrapped up around 3 o'clock on Saturday 26th. Should you need to leave a little bit earlier or before, please talk to myself and Anthea and give us as much notice as possible so we can kind of work around your constraints. But we're trying to be flexible and appreciate that things change and you might be late to certain things or kick off. If you're a little bit late, just appreciate you might be missing some of the material, and we'll have to kind of catch you up outside of that. And then on the accommodation side of things, if you've selected the program accommodation included in the program fee, then just a bit of some kind of pointers. It's a first come first served basis, so we were inundated with way more applications than we were expecting, and as such have have a little bit less accommodation facilities than we had first planned for. There are still spaces left, but if you have already completed your onboarding form by now, assume that you have your accommodation. We'll email all of you the follow-up information in the coming days. But if you've already completed your onboarding form and paid, you're sorted. If you have any special requirements, please just let us know. One or two of you have already emailed about some specific accommodation requirements, and we're just figuring out the logistics behind that, but assume everything's sorted on that side once again. And then lastly, the majority of accommodation is in single bedded rooms, but a handful of the accommodation is in double bedded rooms, and we'll allocate that closer towards the time, but we'll let you know ahead of time when you've been put. If you haven't booked for accommodation, the following slides will outline some alternative arrangements. And then also, if you are in the overflow, two things. We'll reimburse you the difference of the ticket. That might just take a little bit of time, but we'll reimburse you the difference of the ticket. And then you can use the WhatsApp group and other groups to find alternative people to, if you guys want to split an Airbnb, or if you're looking for hostels together, there's lots of alternatives. So far, we've worked with almost 100 people who've come to Lisbon underneath our umbrella of activities. So we have lots of different resources and places to point you in that are either a more affordable, or if you're ready to spend a little bit more money to have a different type of accommodation, then we can kind of point you in the right directions. So the main ones that you might not be familiar with are Flatio.com and NomadX, which are Lisbon-specific platforms, but they're basically like Airbnbs and Booking.coms. There's also a really extensive network of LSE people that you can reach out to, which we're happy to kind of point you in the right direction. There's like Facebook groups and stuff to find alternative accommodations. If you're interested in where we'll be mainly operating from, our office space is in a place called Casa do Impacto, which is House of Impact in Portuguese, and it's in a really, really well-positioned place on the top of the hill, which is a little bit difficult to climb, but there's a tram if you really can't be asked to go up there. There's a lot of surrounding accommodation, both in this area, which is also where kind of the really nice bars and stuff are, and then in the central area of Lisbon, which is just, if anyone's been to Lisbon, it's just by the harbour. And this is the extremely touristy area where there's also lots of accommodation. So you're never really more than a 20-minute walk to the office. Yes, following on from the accommodation is the onboarding form, which many of you have already completed, and that just gives us a lot more rich information following on from our interviews with you and conversations and applications to understand how more we can tailor the program and any other major issues. Please, like, if there's anything that you're a bit unsure of, dietary requirements, the types of mentors that you're looking for, all of that will be included in the onboarding form, and there's ample sections for you to go into as much detail as possible. It shouldn't really take more than 10 minutes, but it's the necessary 10 minutes for us to really get and capture lots of really useful information. Tomorrow, Thursday, and possibly for a bit of Friday, Anthea and I will be sending around some optional office hours, 15 minutes to just kind of grab some time with us. In these conversations, we're happy to talk a little bit more about goal setting, how to make the most of the week. We're constantly updating the list of kind of speakers and mentors and partners that we'll be working with. And so any chance you get to share a little bit more is always really helpful for us. But also, myself and Anthea have worked with founders and have been founders before. We can point you in the right directions if you're getting stuck in between now. I think the next 2 to 3 weeks is a really great time to get yourself into the best position to make the most of that week. And so don't think of it as the program starts on the Sunday. Think of it as the program's already started and you are in this really good time to put yourself into the best mindset and get your business into the best place to maximize output. We'll send that link through. It'll probably be just a Google Calendar invite. Jump onto the call, have a chat with us and share what you're working on, what you're struggling with, and kind of make use of these meetings, as you'll be doing lots of similar meetings like that in Lisbon where you'll only have kind of 20 minutes. You need to share what you're working on and then get to the kind of what am I stuck with really quickly. And this is a really important skill when you're working with us. You can see already, like, I think 15 of you are already on the WhatsApp group, really helpful. Please just share your name so it's easier for us to save your numbers, and then maybe your LinkedIn or a brief bio about yourself and what you're working on. My running theme here is you don't know who someone else knows. And so you could be working on something really interesting in agricultural technologies, and a relative or friend or person in their network could be doing something really cool in agricultural technologies. And if you don't share what you're working on, people won't know. So be really helpful in promoting, and it can be really helpful and advantageous for you as well. I will briefly show you the Notion page and handbook. Once again, this will be shared once you've completed the payment process, because it has a lot of the program resources and information on. But this is like your central handbook for all things Lisbon operations, and so it has kind of a very easy and simple to navigate different web pages. For those of you who haven't used Notion before, just a note-taking tool and kind of like Wikipedia data center. But we have loads of tools on the operations of how things will take place, how to use the office space, communication tools on programs and programming, resources for your week and your time before and after the program, and tips of it, how to explore Lisbon, great restaurants and places to stay. What I'll say for now is that result, all of the recordings, sessions, mentor information, all of that will be stored in this one centralized location. So it's really easy to access and navigate. And if you have any questions, check the Notion page first and then ask us, because there's a very high chance that someone else has asked us and we built part of the Notion page to explain what's going on there. Anthea, can I hand this bit over to you while I grab some water?
Okay, so some things that we wanted to go over about the program and the experience. We just, from our experience coming to these sorts of events, is being your authentic self. You don't need to posture and be somebody you're not, because you'll get more out of the program just showing up as you are. A lot of people get a little bit embarrassed to ask questions and whatnot, but remember, there is no stupid questions. People will most likely be wondering the same thing. So just ask anything that comes to your mind. That is what we want. Be kind to one another, because it's important, because it's a hard world out there. And this program will probably feel long, but it's also really short and everything is urgent. So I think if you're finding that it's not feeling urgent, then there's something wrong, because there's a lot of things happening and we'll be going very fast. And so that's something that we'll be going through later on, is that if you see any downtime, we would expect you to either be working on your startup. And if you're a student, we understand that it is reading week, and that reading week is indeed for reading. So that is in our mind as well. So during those times, please make sure to prioritize your time accordingly. And last but not least, as it said there, you set your limits. And so we encourage you to be ambitious and shoot for the stars during this time.
Thank you. So who are you? I very quickly just scraped a couple of LinkedIn profiles to kind of fill the experience side of this. But there is a really, really nice diverse group of founders. I would say it's about 60% internationals with a variety of different experiences, both corporate, public, private. Some people who have worked on startups before, some people who are really new to this world, a really nice split between current students and also graduates, recent alumni, and some more mature students. So what I'll say is, and once again, another thing that I'll just keep reinforcing, so much of the value from these programs across the more traditional Generate Accelerator programs, our boot camps, our pitch competitions, comes from the network and connections you make. So an example of this is one or two of the people who joined us in our trip to Web Summit. So late last year, we went to Lisbon with a large delegation of LSE founders. And many people were able to pick up internships from within the network. People were introduced to people who became their future bosses or potential prospective investors. It's a very fast-paced community, and reinforcing, like, speaking really openly and sharing really positively and with all the passion that you've been sharing with us so far is so important. Someone's asked a question in the chat about, do you need to have a business to be on the program? No. The first few sessions in day one, which we'll talk about in a little bit, are focused on kind of evaluating good ideas. One of the things that I would say is, it's great to have an idea that you're working on, not necessarily a business, but like an idea that makes an idea that creates a platform for you to learn, an idea that helps create challenges that you're trying to progressively solve and come up with solutions for. And so hopefully by the end of the program, if you join without an idea, you'll leave with one, but we'll encourage you to kind of pick up something to kind of use as a mental model and to apply to the different frameworks that we're playing around with to explore a little bit. But yeah, reflecting on the fact that it's such an impressive cohort of people that we're really, really excited to be welcoming into the hub.
Also, Kieran, we're just really quick, just to add to that, there are a couple of founders that are maybe not even on this call, but that are a part of the cohort that are looking for individuals who don't have businesses and that would like to join a startup. So that too could be an option, is that if you do find somebody during the week that you're interested in working with them on their idea, that is also an option. And there are some founders that are looking to have people join them. So that's also something to keep in mind.
That might be something even to facilitate on WhatsApp as well. If you don't have an idea and like you're sharing your profile and say like, I'm looking and here's my skills and background, there's lots of opportunities for us. Myself and Anthea know a lot about each of your profiles respectively, so we can introduce in an ad hoc capacity. So maybe also just come to us and just make sure that we're on top of your mind. You're on top of our minds when we're speaking to people, so we can make those introductions in a really fluid way. So the practicalities of the program, there's a handful of key components that you'll see in the daily rhythm of how we're running activities, but most things will take place in our office space within the Casa do Impacto building, and there's a lot of opportunities for you to be engaging with each other and speaking to members of the community and working around with the different founders in the space. There's lots of ample opportunities for one-to-ones with the Generate team. Myself and Anthea will be joined by one of our colleagues who's the head of Generate, LJ, who is also extensively connected in the UK and European ecosystem. And really, I want you guys to use us as a place to set goals and to measure your progress and push you. We will come to you with hard conversations and hard questions, and it's not so that we can make you feel bad or to make you feel like you're not doing very well. It's us asking you hard questions to push you to think harder and to go deeper into these problems and areas. Another thing that we'll be doing, obviously, is there'll be a handful of talks, workshops, lectures, and sessions. These will be content delivery that will cover a variety of activities from early ideation, customer development, sales, pitching, and a load of stuff in between. We'll also be visiting a couple of different startup offices in the region, and we'll also be kind of visiting different spaces in the Lisbon ecosystem to meet more founders and get you out of your comfort zone, get you into places where you have to pitch to strangers and share what you're working on, maybe not in the most comfortable setting. And then, of course, there'll be loads of time for socials and networking and exploring Lisbon.
Also, Kieran, before jumping into the program, LJ is on the call. LJ, do you want to introduce yourself really quick to everyone?
Yeah, absolutely. I have to apologize because I'm actually in Portugal at the moment and I've just come back from a jog, so I'm sweating a little bit. I won't delight you all with my slightly red face. But yeah, thanks so much, guys. Really lovely to see you all. Lots of new faces, which is absolutely wonderful. We are super excited about running this. We've, as Kieran said, we've managed to develop a really extensive ecosystem that really kind of spans the entire entrepreneurial kind of arena, everyone from founders to investors to policymakers. And I think this opportunity has the kind of added benefit of being plugged into an already existing ecosystem. So as the guys said, Casdo and Pacto has been running as very central and kind of pivotal and kind of really important base within Lisbon, but also across Portugal as well. And so you get the added benefit of actually being able to work alongside social entrepreneurs. I'm really excited to be there in a few weeks. It's going to come around quickly, but you're in good hands, and we look forward to seeing you very soon over there.
Amazing. Sorry, my keyboard just had a good mind of its own for a second. So you can see just a high level overview of what's going to take place over the week. Things will kick off on, or take off, pun the pun. They'll take off on Sunday. We'll have a welcome reception and some dinner in a local restaurant quite close to our office space. Monday through to Friday, mornings and early afternoons will be general talks, workshops, lunch and learn sessions. And then in the evenings, it will vary from socials, office visits. On Wednesday and Thursday, we're sorting out a couple of special surprises and special visits. So we'll talk more about that closer to the time. But on Wednesday, we're planning a mentor mixer. And on Thursday, we're planning a pitch event with a local university who is a partner with us called Nova, who have an amazing campus, with students that like their campus literally backs onto the ocean, and their students often go surfing in all throughout the year, basically when they're between lectures, which is really nice. And then on Saturday we'll be exploring Lisbon, doing a bit more of offsite activities before leaving. I'll be staying in Lisbon for a little bit after, and from some of our interviews so far, some of you have indicated you're interested in staying. The office space is a free resource for LSE alumni, students, staff who are currently working on impactful and entrepreneurial endeavors to come and use. And so I think we've already had 3 or 4 people relocate in January who came in like November or in September to visit the space, and are now just working from Lisbon. And they have an office space to support them. They have an ecosystem and a community. They have myself, LJ, Anthea, and the rest of the Generate team. So hopefully some people on this call and some people in the cohort will join them in those activities. In the coming weeks, as I mentioned, just further time for you to plan your trip. We'll follow up and stay a lot more active through WhatsApp in the future. And so you'll be able to kind of answer and triage questions there, welcome calls, goal setting, further onboarding information, and more people joining the cohort. People have been applying today on Web Summit. I think the final person that joined the cohort and then actually came to Lisbon was based out in Sweden, and they booked their ticket 2 days before Web Summit kicked off. So we're happy to grow the cohort all the way up until the start if they are ready kind of participate and engage. So be welcoming members of the community. I know you have a lot of energy now and it might die down a little bit in the coming weeks, but please be there and be engaged up until the kickoff. And as Anthea mentioned before, like always assume unscheduled time in this program and in the run up to the program is time for you to work on your startup and make the most of the experience. I appreciate some people on the call have signed up for the virtual program, and I've been banging on about what's going on in person in Lisbon. So I sent some of this information on to you ahead of time when we sent the acceptance emails. A lot of this information will also be further elaborated on in the Notion page. But for the virtual programming, we appreciate that there are some people who can't travel. Coronavirus issues restrictions, visas are issues, and we wanted to make it as an accessible program as possible. And I think a lot of you have appreciated the feature of virtual learning is quite engaging and quite interactive. We'll be doing our best during the program, but predominantly after and in the run up to make people who are on the virtual program feel engaged and make the most of the experience, especially since you'll have more time with myself and Anthea in the run up and after. All recordings will be uploaded really soon after the sessions are completed. We just bought a nice top of the range camera to facilitate those. You'll have access to the network. All of the people who are here, who I've been banging on about how amazing you guys all are, you'll still be accessible and you will still be able to engage. We'll look to run one more of these kind of informal calls closer to the program, potentially the week before, and we'll be using Hopin or another type of video conferencing software to make that kind of fluid engagement a lot more accessible. We'll be doing office hours with myself and Anthea and other members of the LSE Generate team, and you'll be able to access our mentor database should you need any more specific introductions. And in particular, for the startups that are really interested in fundraising activities or marketing activities, we'll be looking to build some free resources for you to engage with to supplement some of the learnings that you're taking, because I appreciate you won't be able to have all of the conversations that we'll be having offline. And so we want to make sure that you have some more practical things to take away, and you'll also have access to the program handbook and other associated materials. And when you are ready to come to Lisbon, the hub is waiting for you, as with kind of anyone really in our community who needs to and wants to explore a new ecosystem. Okay, COVID dilemma. It was the elephant in the room and it had to be discussed very briefly. We appreciate how quickly things can turn around. From all of the engagements we've had with in the Lisbon hub, no one has contracted, touch wood, coronavirus so far, and we're really proud of that. That comes from safety. There is an expectation for you to all do your adequate testing and have vaccinations if that's something that that's possible. We expect you before arrival, so before you come in at 5 o'clock on Sunday, to have done like a lateral flow test or some type of equivalent test. In Lisbon, they're like €2 from the corner shop that's right next to our office. So there will be some there, but we encourage you to bring them ahead of time. And then in the absolute worst case scenario, people will be refunded and you will do a fully virtual program, and we'll have all of our mentors and advocates call in. And we appreciate that would absolutely suck, but it will have to do what we have to do within the restrictions that we have. And we have been able to run really high quality programming throughout the COVID pandemic with our last 2 accelerators. So our team is more than ready to do that, and we'll know, and all of our speakers and mentors are aware of this possibility of the situation, but everything's looking good at this point in time. We've spoken to quite a few of yourselves as founders, and I think on the application form there's an opportunity for you to share some other people in your network who you're interested in who you think would be interested in participating in this program. As it's mentioned, this isn't exclusively for LSE Generate. This is one of our first programs we've been able to open out to the wider ecosystem, and there have been people who applied from Oxford and UAL and Manchester and a variety of other universities, and we're really, really pleased to be welcoming some people on the calls who aren't from LSE. The promotion that we have running from the 1st of February up until our close, which I believe is about a week before the kickoff, is if you wish to bring a co-founder, a team member, a colleague in addition, their ticket price is half price. So if you're already in and you want to bring someone else who can subsidize your cost or just wants to kind of get in at a more affordable price point, you're more than welcome to share this promotion with them. And alternatively, if you're in and there's no one in your network who you think wants to come to Lisbon for a week and enjoy themselves and learn a little bit about some more social innovation and startups, then by all means, we're really excited to just have you all to ourselves. But this will be the standard promotion that's going on for the next couple of weeks. So just final next steps, and then we're happy to break out to Q&A, and I'll turn off the recording. But RSVP your place on the LSE website eShop. Watch this welcome call footage, which you would have done. That's why you're hearing me talk about it, or you're in this call. Check out your accommodation, flight opportunities, join the WhatsApp group and introduce yourself. And we'll be sending a link around shortly where you'll be able to download the program calendar and schedule into your calendar. So there's no reason you'll be late. Please be on time for as much as possible. And if there's any issues, just WhatsApp us. we're not monsters. We appreciate things change, but please keep us up to date. I think that's everything. Anthea or LJ, do you guys have anything else you wanted to share?
Not for me, just one thing with regards to the vaccination. I mean, it is an expectation, but obviously not mandatory, because I know that's a pretty touchy subject. So it will just be in line to what the government policy is in the respective country. So I think if you're not vaccinated, it's just a PCR test. So yeah, that's just one thing. But other than that, I have nothing else to add. If anyone else would like to jump in with a question, you can just unmute yourself or pop it in the chat.
No questions. Just wanted to say thank you for such a great opportunity. So looking forward to see you all. Thank you.
No worries at all. I appreciate one or two people had to drop off during the call. I got some messages. If there isn't anything, and we're happy to do a quick round robin, we can pause the recording. People can just do a quick one-liner. Hi, my name is, and I'm working on this.
I'll pause the recording then now. It was recording. I'll pause it now. Okay.